Every time the crown princess attends to the crown prince at night, she always falls asleep halfway. The crown prince, with no way to relieve himself, has to go to the cold pool to suppress his desires. At this moment, the maid passes by at the right time and deliberately catches the crown prince's attention. The crown prince asks which palace she is from. The woman claims she was ordered to come help the crown princess with her toilette, not expecting to disturb the crown prince. The crown prince tells her to look up. Seeing her pitiful appearance, he immediately tells her to come and serve him. The moment she steps into the pool, she deliberately slips and falls into the crown prince's arms. By this point, the crown prince has long been stirred into a fluster. The reborn woman also knows her plan has succeeded. After the crown princess wakes up, she looks at the woman behind the tent and realizes the maid has betrayed her. It turns out that in her previous life, the crown princess had been unable to conceive for a long time, so she followed a master's arrangement and gave the woman to the crown prince to bear a child on her behalf. Unexpectedly, after the woman successfully gave birth to a prince, the crown princess separated her from her child. The woman begged the crown princess bitterly to let her see her child, but the crown princess said she was now pregnant herself, so there was no need for the other child to stay. She knew her son had met with misfortune, but apart from crying out, she was utterly unable to stand up to the crown princess. In the end, the crown princess had her dragged to the stable and handed over to the groom. Unable to bear the humiliation, the woman cut her wrists and committed suicide. Yet the next second, she found herself reborn 3 years in the past. At this point, she hadn't yet acted as a surrogate for the crown princess, since she couldn't change the fate of being a servant. This time she was determined to reverse her destiny. The woman deliberately added a large amount of knockout drops to the lotus seed soup and said, "Crown princess, let you taste the bitterness of revenge." The crown princess fell asleep before the night's intimacy could be completed. The desire the crown prince had just aroused could only be suppressed in the pool. At this time, the woman passed by at the right moment, stirring the crown prince into a state of intense excitement. When the crown princess woke up, she was annoyed at having fallen asleep again. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind the tent, but when she lifted it to check, there was no one there. The crown prince had no interest in her by then, resenting her only for ruining his plans. At that moment, the crown princess noticed the woman's hair was not only wet but also carried a faint fragrance, so she issued a subtle threat, urging the other to tell the truth. The woman lied, saying she'd just seen a woman escape through the back window, and when she chased after her, she'd found the handkerchief the woman had dropped. The crown princess thought about how the crown prince had rejected her earlier, then looked out the window, and couldn't help but set aside her doubts about the woman. She thought to herself, "You seductress of his highness, just wait." Having lost her composure in front of the crown prince, she planned to use her beauty to win him back this time, believing the crown prince would surely have a change of heart. At this moment, the woman took the opportunity to come over to pour wine, but the crown prince deliberately took her hand. Just then, the crown princess suddenly opened her eyes and saw this. The woman quickly pretended to spill the wine. The crown princess then reprimanded the woman, but the crown prince said meaningfully, "I'll be waiting." After that, the woman followed to